We continue now at the top of Daf Ayin Chesam and Beis in Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 78b. On the previous summer, there was a machlokas Tanaim in the Mishnah. If a person sells a donkey, is the equipment included in that sale? The Tanna Kama says the equipment is not included in the sale, and Nachum Hamadai says the equipment is included in the sale. And the Gemara asked, are we talking about where the equipment is actually on the donkey or it's not on the donkey? And the Gemara tried to bring a proof from the Mishnah, which brings the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda clearly is talking about a case where the equipment is on the donkey, and so the Gemara wanted to suggest the same should be true by the Tanna Kama and Nachum Hamadai. They're having a machlokas where the equipment is on the donkey. And the Gemara now says it's not necessarily the case, because it could be Milsa Achrisi Kamar, it could be that Rabbi Yehuda was talking about a different situation, nothing to do with what the previous Tanoim in the Mishnah were talking about. And the Rashbam explains Milsa Achrisi Kamar, Inu Airi B'She'eno Danolav. It could be that they're talking about where the equipment is not on the donkey. They have a machlokas Tanoim in that case, whether the equipment is included or not. Aval Ba'odan Olav Divrei Akol Machar. It could be that if the equipment is on the donkey, everybody agrees it is sold together with the donkey. V'yasa Rabbi Yehuda Lifluge, and it could be that Rabbi Yehuda is coming and he's arguing Aduk Yoditu. He's arguing on the inference that we make from what they say. Diafilu Ba'odan Olav, that Rabbi Yehuda is saying even in a situation Ba'odan Olav where the equipment is on the donkey, where you all agree that it is sold together with the donkey, but I say Pa'amim She'en Mechor, and I say sometimes it's not sold together with the donkey, even in that situation. And the Gemara continues, Amar le Ravina le Ravashi. Ravina said to Ravashi, Tashma, come and hear a proof. This is from the previous Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Machares HaKaron lo Machares HaPrados. If a person sells a wagon, he does not sell the mules along with the wagon. V'tani Rav Tachlifa bar Ma'arava kamid Rabbi Avo. And Rav Tachlifa bar Ma'arava, he taught before Rabbi Avo, he had a brisa that Machares HaKaron, Machares HaPrados, the opposite of the Mishnah, that if one sells the wagon, he does sell the mules together with the wagon. V'yomar leisai setim v'anon lo machar tanan, but doesn't our Mishnah say the opposite? It says that the mules are not sold along with the wagon. So how do we reconcile the contradiction between the Mishnah and the brisa? V'yomar le Isamye, he said, should I delete this brisa? Is this brisa inaccurate? V'yomar le said back to him, lo, no, to targim masnisach, you can understand your brisa. But adukimbo, the brisa is talking where it's attached, meaning to say the mules are attached to the wagon. That's where we say that the mules are sold together with the wagon. And the Mishnah is talking about where it's not attached. And so Mechlal, the Gemara says, that implies the Masnisin B'Shein Adukimbo, that this particular Mishnah with the wagon and the mules is talking where again they're not attached. Umidereisha B'Shein Odanolav, and from the fact that this previous Mishnah is talking where they are not attached, where it's not on it. So Seifanami, so our case over here also, the end Mishnah also, meaning the case of the donkey and the equipment, B'Shein Odanolav, we can understand that we're talking where the equipment is not on the donkey. The Gemara says it's not true. Adrab, on the contrary, if you're going to bring a proof from the context of previous Mishnahs, Moresha, let's look at the earlier Mishnah. The Mishnah said, Avalo machar lo esu avodim v'lo es antiki. It said that he did not sell the slaves and he didn't sell the antiki. V'yamrinan my antiki, and we said, what are antiki? Amar Papa iska de v'gavos, or Papa said it's referring to the merchandise that's on the ship. We're talking about a ship over there. And so let's make the opposite inference. Umidureisha ba'odan olav, from the fact that this earlier Mishnah is talking where it's on the ship. Seifanami ba'odan olav, we should say that our end Mishnah over here also, our case as well, is talking where it is on the donkey. And so if you're going to bring a proof from earlier Mishnayos, you can go in both directions. Elatana mili katani, rather you have to say the Tana of the Mishnayos over here. Each Mishnah can be different, can be talking about different circumstances. You can't bring proof from the circumstances of an earlier Mishnah to what the circumstances are in this particular Mishnah. And the Gemara continues, Amar Abai says, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Nosson, V'Sumchas, V'Nacham Hamadai, all of these various Tanoim, Kulu Svirul, who they all hold, Ki Mazvin Inish Midi, when a person sells something, Ihu V'Chol Tashmishte Mezavin, he's selling the item, and also all of the accompanying equipment for that particular item. And the Gemara says, Rabbi Eliezer, where do we see that with Rabbi Eliezer? Tatanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer says, Hamochar Beis Abad, one who sells an olive press, Mochar Sakora, he sells the beam along with the olive press. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Tatanan, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, we see it in the following Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, Hamochar So'ir, Mochar Hasanter, if somebody sells a city, he sells along the employee that works for the city as well. Rabbi Meir Tanya, Rabbi Meir, we see in the following brayso, Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Meir says, Mochar Sakerem, Mochar Tashmisha Hakerem, if somebody sells a vineyard, he sells the equipment of the vineyard as well. Rabbi Nosson V'Sumchis, and where do we see that by Rabbi Nosson and Sumchis? Bitzis V'Dugis, that's talking about where you sell the smaller ships that accompany the larger ship. And Nacham Hamadai, Hadi Amran, that's what we just said in our Mishnah, by the case of the donkey and the equipment together with the donkey. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Pamim Mechur V'chula. Rabbi Yehuda again, he says sometimes we say the equipment is sold together with the donkey, sometimes it's not. It depends on how it's phrased. And the Gemara says Ma'ishna Chamor Chazu. What's the difference? Where if he says this your donkey, then we say the equipment is included in the sale. U'Ma'ishna Chamor Chahu. And what's the difference in a case where he says is this your donkey? Can you sell it to me? In that case, we say the equipment is not included in the sale. What's the difference between those two cases? Amar Rava says Chamor Chazu. If he says your donkey or this your donkey, yada de chamra didehu. The idea is that he knows that this is his donkey. V'hayda kamar leizu, and when he's saying sell me this donkey of yours, mishum kelev, what he's really saying is mishum kelev kamar le. He's saying he wants the equipment as well. That's why he's phrasing it in that manner. When you say chamor chazu, sell me this donkey of yours, of course he knows that the donkey belongs to the seller. He's including the kelim as well. He's including the equipment as well. But chamor chahu, when he says is this your donkey? Can you sell it to me? De lo yada de chamra didehu. In that case, he's indicating that he doesn't know whether it's his donkey or not. So he's saying to him as follows: Chamor chahu shatim karenali. Is this your donkey that you'll sell it to me? In that case, it's clear that he's only purchasing the donkey. The equipment is not included. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Hamocher Sachamor, if somebody sells a donkey, this is talking about a female donkey, Mocher Sasiyach, so along with the donkey comes the offspring, comes the young donkey as well. Mocher Sapar, if he sells a cow, Lo Mocher Espino, he does not sell her offspring. In that case, the offspring is not included. Machar Ashba, if a person sells a garbage heap, Machar Zavla, he sells the manure as well. Machar Bor, if he sells a pit, Machar Memeh, included in that sale is the water. Machar Keveris, if a person sells a beehive, Machar Devorim, he sells the bees as well. Machar Shovach, if he sells a dovecote, Machar Yonim, he is selling the doves as well. And the Rashbam explains, Hamocher esachamor stam, a person just sells a donkey stam, doesn't have any specific stipulations. Siyach, so included in that is the siyach, which is the beno shel chamor, koroi siyach, the offspring of the chamor is called the siyach. Lo machar beno, when it comes to the cow, the offspring is not included. B'gemar mefarish ma'ishna para mechamor, the Gemara will explain why a cow is different than a donkey. Machar ashbaso, what's ashbaso? Makom omakimolo gavoa shlosha. This is a place that's either 3 tvachim deep or 3 tvachim high. Sherogel losis sham zevel behemos, of a person would put the manure there for the animals, and again, as we said, the manure is going to be included in the sale. And machar bor, a person sells a pit. The Rashbam says bor shal mayim mechunasim, it has water gathered there. Machar kaveris, machar devorim, he sells a beehive. The bees are included. The cholani de kachashiv beteli lahani de kvi. The point over here is everything here that's mentioned in the Mishnah, all these items are nullified to the main thing which is being sold, and that's included. Avol machar zavla, but let's say you have the opposite. Let's say he's selling the manure. So lo machar ashpasa, that doesn't mean he's selling the area where the manure is placed. Machar meimov lo machar boro, same thing if a person sells the water, it doesn't mean he's including the pit. V'chein kula, and that's true by all of them. Umilsa de pshita, this is very obvious. V'lo itzrach lemisnei, it doesn't even need to be said. And the Gemara says, Hey Chidamya, what exactly is the case in the Mishnah? If the way that the seller phrases it to the buyer is we're selling the animal and its offspring, so afilu paru v'nonami, so then even by a cow, the offspring should be included. If he doesn't say the animal and its offspring, afilu chamor nami lo, so by the donkey also, we should not say that the offspring of the donkey is automatically included. And the Gemara answers, Amar Rapapa says, the way it's phrased is he says a donkey that's nursing or a cow that's nursing, ani mocher loch, that's what I am selling to you. And so we make a distinction for the following reason. Bishlama par, I understand by a cow, the idea could be he's saying a nursing cow because the person wants to buy the cow for the milk. So the offspring is not necessarily included in the sale. El chamor, my kamerle, but by the donkey, what's he saying a nursing donkey for? There must be some reason. So Shema Mina hi uvana kamarle. So you see from that he means to say the donkey and its offspring, that must be what is included in the sale. And the Gemara says, V'amai kari la siyach. Now, why is the offspring of a donkey called a siyach? Shemahalech achar sichana, because when it's a young donkey, it obeys pleasant speech. You don't have to force it to move. You speak pleasantly to it, and it will follow the instructions. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachman, Amar Rav Yochanan. Rav Shmuel bar Nachman says that Rav Yochanan says, some have the gears of Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachmeni, Amar Rav Yonasan. In any case, Mai Dechsiv, what does it mean when it's written in the Pasuk, Al Kain Yomru HaMoshlim? Therefore, those who say the parables, they say as follows, and we darsh the pasuk over here, hamoshlim, when we say hamoshlim, elu hamoshlim biyitzram, that refers to those who rule over their yetzer hara. And the pasuk continues, bo cheshbon, come to cheshbon, means to say, bo nechashev cheshbono shalolam. We should do a calculation in terms of our deeds in this world. Hefsed mitzvah keneged sechara, the loss of a mitzvah corresponding to its reward, uschar avera keneged hefseda, the reward of an avera corresponding to its loss, meaning we should take into account what we do, what are the effects of our actions. And the pasuk goes on to say, tibona v'sichonen. What does that mean? Imata osakain, if you do that, if you make these calculations, if a person is careful what they do in this world, then tibona, then you will be built ba'olam hazeh, it means you will be built in this world. V'sikonen la'olam haba, and you will be established in the next world. And the pasuk goes on to say, Ir Sichon, the city of Sichon, and that means mesim adam atzmo ka'ayar zeh, if a person is like a young donkey, shemahalech achar sichonoah, that he follows after the pleasant speech, meaning he follows the yetzer hara. So then maksiv achar of what's written after that, ki eish yotza mecheshbon, it says a fire goes out from cheshbon, which means teitze eish mi mechashbon, the fire goes out from those who do the calculation, who act properly, v'tochel, and it consumes as she'enan mechashbon, those who do not do the calculation, who don't act properly. And the pasuk continues, v'lohava mikiryas Sichon, and the flame goes out from the city of Sichon. That means to say mikiryas tzadikim, the flame goes out from the city of the tzadikim. Shenikru Sichon, they refer to as Sichon, as trees. Achla or Moav, the pasuk then goes on to say that it has devoured Or of Moav. V'zeh mahalech achar yitzro, this refers to somebody who follows his yetzer hara. Ka'ayir zeh shemahalech achar sichonoah, again like a young donkey that follows the pleasant speech, follows the yetzer hara. And the pasuk goes on to say, Bale Bamos Arnon, the lords of the high places of Arnon, Elu Gase Aruach, that refers to those who are arrogant. Diyomar Mar, because the master said, Kol Adam Sheyesh Bo Gasas Aruach, Nofel Begehenim, any person who's arrogant will fall into Gehenim. And the pasuk goes on to say Vaniram, which literally means, and we have shot at them. And the Gemara Darshan Zamar Rasha, the wicked one, says Ein Rum, there's no higher authority. And the pasuk says Avar Cheshbon, the Cheshbon is lost, which means Avar Cheshbono Shalolam. This idea of making this calculation of doing mitzvahs and not averos, that's lost from the world. And then it says in the pasuk Adivon until Divon. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu says Hamtein ad sheyavodin, wait until there is judgment. Vanashim, and then the pasuk says that we have laid waste, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Ayin Tes Amud Aleph.